this is a pretty substantial blow for the Clippers because they lost a very good second option. They also lost the one player that actually took them to the Western Conference Finals. Yes, it was Paul George that took them to the Western Conference Finals, not Kawhi Leonard. So figuring out exactly like where the Clippers stand after losing Paul George is a little bit tough. And it's not something that people know for sure because like it's just the same story with the Clippers. On paper, they look great, but aside from that, it's not looking good. It's really not all that good when you're looking at everything else coming in from the Clippers. It's really not all that. And I mean, yes, sure, the roster, it looks good, but then once they go into the postseason, it's just done. And they disappointed their fans. They disappointed everyone with this Paul George move. Not just the move to let him walk, but also the move to acquire him. Because everybody thought there was going to be a Battle of LA. It was advertised. And the Clippers just could not do it, even though the Lakers were able to do it. And what again, I'm going to say this because I say this a lot, but LeBron and his Lakers get more hate for winning a title in LA than the Clippers do for not even winning a single title with Kawhi and Paul George, which makes zero sense to me. But aside from that, Kawhi Leonard, according to this article, Kawhi Leonard made a solid statement about the after effects of Paul George leaving the Los Angeles Clippers. So while Kawhi Leonard is obviously still trying to recover from his injury that he sustained a few months ago, the Clippers star is expected to have limited participation in training camp. So for the upcoming season, this setback is challenging for him, given that he has also lost Paul George, who joined the 76ers in the recent offseason. Despite the concerns, obvious concerns for that matter, among fans about the impact of George's departure, Leonard remained optimistic about his ability to adapt. During the Clippers media day, he shared straightforward thoughts on losing his teammate. So, excuse me, Kawhi Leonard said, quote, I'm going to try to talk in his voice too. Well, he obviously made things easier on the court for players, but as far as my mental focus is going into the game, I don't feel like it's going to be harder for me personally. I didn't look at it for anybody I'm on the court with. I don't look at him to be my savior. That's what he said. So I have no idea what he means by I'm not looking for him to be my savior, because that's a little bit of an odd quote there. And he continues, I take in my own role and my challenges that I have to face every game and go in there and try to dominate the game, he added. So, I mean, he does seem to be rather, I guess that's what you call optimism, because, we all know how Kawhi Leonard talks. He barely really shows all that emotion. And I guess this is sort of his way of saying that I don't need him. I don't know, because the way this was worded, it's sort of what really catches me off guard is when he said, I don't look at him to be my savior. We know you don't. Why you gotta be like that? I'm confused. I don't know if that sounds odd, but let me know in the comments what you guys think, because that just, I don't know, I don't think that's really something that you just say, And let's see, the article continues with Kawhi Leonard updating his fans on his injury and his recovery. As we all know, he got injured in Game 3 of the first round. Once again, he always gets injured. It's really just unfortunate for him. But he said, quote, there's some stuff we can do or try to do to make it last. Leonard said, we'll see what happens. So the Clippers, unfortunately, they ended up losing, or fortunately, depending on where you stand, they ended up losing to the Mavericks. Before his injury, however, Leonard wrapped his regular season up averaging 23 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. So it is possible that they could, they could still be a formidable team with Kawhi Leonard. That's totally possible, as well as James Harden, who I believe also mentioned his opinions on losing Paul George and how he feels the team is going to operate now that Paul George isn't there. And I don't have the exact quote from him, but I do know he said something along the lines of the offense running through him a little bit more so now than when they had Paul George. And to that, I completely understand. They're definitely going to rely on James Harden as the second option a little bit more than now that they don't really have Paul George on the roster, who was said to be the team's second option and was the second option on the team for the longest time. And I don't know if you're a Clippers fan, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, constantly having the offense ran through James Harden. And everyone sort of knows James Harden's bugaboos in the postseason, but now we're sort of starting to see those bugaboos earlier in the regular season as well, as his play has sort of decreased from what it was previously. And it's sort of like, it's really a crazy downfall that I just didn't really expect coming in from James Harden. I mean, I usually expect it in the postseason. I did not expect his production to hinder all that much. But aside from that, I mean, I don't know, how do you guys feel if having, the offense ran through Harden a little bit more? Because it's like, if this was Harden a couple years ago, everybody would be excited. But it's like now the opinion is a little bit mixed because not everybody is certain whether or not he can be 100%. And not everyone is certain, exactly how he's going to produce, how much he's going to produce, and how consistent he's going to be. And that's really a big problem with James Harden. I understand the inconsistencies in the postseason because that's just a thing, but the inconsistencies in the regular season is not really helping him in the slightest. And I really have no idea where this Clippers team is going to land. They could be a play-in team. I won't be surprised. They could win the championship. I'll be a little surprised. They could lose it all, and I still wouldn't be surprised. So most of the outcomes that I see for the Clippers are going to be disappointing outcomes. And then there's that, one-off miracle chance that they could just do the absolute absurd or do something completely out of left field and just make it all the way to the finals, which would be a killer to Paul George. I kid you not. If the 76ers don't make it to the finals with this lineup, and if the Clippers do, that is going to be a killer on Paul George's legacy. It could really be a bad thing. But that's all that I really have to say about what Kawhi Leonard had to say about Paul George and his departure. Again, let me know in the comments what you guys feel about Paul George leaving. Do you guys think that the 76ers are finally going to get over the hump? Do you guys think that the Clippers are just going to lose out? Let me know in the comments what you guys think. But aside from that, we're going to go ahead and go into our break and then go into the third segment where I talk about some hot takes from users online, and I'm just going to go ahead and give some hot takes around that because, these hot takes are actually, they're hot takes. They're supposed to be egregious, and they're supposed to be coming in in all sorts of places and random thoughts. So I just thought it would be a pretty fun segment to do. And we'll be right back after this short break, so be sure to stay tuned.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.